What's up, YouTube? Nate, the old school otaku here, and I picked up a bunch more stuff while I was on my hiatus. So if you want to see part 5 of what all I picked up, stay tuned! And welcome back. So, once again, here we are with yet another episode in my hiatus pickups. We are up to episode number 5. There's only one more after this. And today I'm going to kind of dub this episode the episode of Discotheque Media. Mainly because the majority of everything I'm going to talk about today, I actually bought at a Discotheque sale from Right Stuf. Right Stuf had a sale on Discotheque, and I picked up a whole bunch of stuff while we were in that sale. Some of it I've already talked about in some of the previous episodes. And speaking of said previous episodes, as this is episode number 5, if you have not seen 1 through 4, I encourage you to go check those out. They'll be here, and here on the screen for you to check out in hopefully numerical order. Though if you don't want to actually, or care to actually see things in numerical order, feel free to continue watching on and then go check out the other ones later. They will be listed in my channel feed and everything as well. Either way, though, I guess let's go ahead and get started. And the first one that I want to actually bring up is going to be a pickup that I had gotten mainly because it was there and it was available, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to pick it up. It was cheap, it was available, and despite the fact that I know I already own a copy, I wanted to have yet another copy on hand, potentially for a future giveaway. We'll see what goes on here coming up in the next couple of months. But to get started, this did not actually come from Discotheque. In fact, it's kind of almost in honor of a very recent Kickstarter project that has gone through the Kickstarter, the beginning part, has been funded, and it's Animego's Riding Bean. The original version on DVD. I love this show. I love pretty much everything Kenichi Sanada. All of this stuff. I've been following all of the manga for Gunsmith Cats and whatnot. And basically, Riding Bean is the first time that you ever got to see some of the main characters from Gunsmith Cats. Bean Bandit is a reoccurring character in Gunsmith Cats, not the anime Gunsmith Cats. That 3-episode OVA actually does not have Bean in it at all, which is a little sad. Though the car he does drive is featured in the car Bean drives in Riding Bean, and also in the manga, is featured in the Gunsmith Cats anime. The main bad guy or girl or whatever in that OVA actually drives it. But either way, though, this is all about the Roadbuster. And Rally, as you will see, Rally is, she's blonde, but she's just as awesome as a shot as she is in the manga. So it is slightly different. It's a little odd, a little jarring actually to go watch this after having followed all of Gunsmith Cats and everything up to that point. But it's really cool. It's really awesome. It's set in Chicago, because, that's where this whole thing takes place, is in Chicago. The music is so full of 80s awesome, cool. In fact, I believe the actual musical artist who did all of the soundtrack and everything is actually a English speaking, a U.S. composer, actually. But either way, though, Really, really awesome, really cool. Just a little bit of information here. Riding Bean. In Chicago, Ace Courier Bean Bandit rules the road and operates on both sides of the law. If cargo absolutely positively has to be there now, Bean's your man. For a price. Want to ensure that the getaway from your latest heist goes smoothly? No problem, but it will cost you. Bean's latest cargo is a 10-year-old girl who's worth 50 grand when delivered home, but what he doesn't know is that she's already been kidnapped, and he's about to be framed for the snatch. Meanwhile, the real kidnappers are making off with $2 million in ransom money. Will Bean discover the ruse in time to get the money himself? Will he evade Inspector Percy's relentless pursuit? No matter what, the Chicago Police Department is going to have a huge auto repair bill. So yeah, that's Riding Bean. The front. He doesn't just break the traffic laws; he mangles them. Bean is kind of like the definition of cool. To kind of put it very, very simply, he drives really well, and he is a beast of a man. He's not somebody that you want to mess with. And looking back here, this is Sonoda Kenichi's work, known for Bubblegum Crisis, Bubblegum Crash, Otaku no Video, Gunsmith Cats, all of that stuff. The music is actually done by David Garfield and Phil Perry. It's a 46-minute long OVA, originally released in 1989 in Japan, and then licensed by Animego, actually in 1989 as well. English dubbing and DVD supplements. This version here was 2002 by Animego. And then, like I said, there is a recent Kickstarter for Riding Bean, which you could still potentially get involved with. I'm currently involved with it. It's tons of fun. I love the stuff that Robert does for all of these. So, that is Riding Bean, and I can't wait to actually open up the Riding Bean Blu-ray when it's finally released and show you guys all the cool stuff inside there as well. But let's get moving on. So the rest of everything I have to show for you guys right now came from the Right Stuff Discotheque sale. All of it's discotheque stuff, and some of it's stuff that I've been wanting to actually get extra copies of or different copies of in comparison to some of the stuff I already have. So let's just get started. First one up is Mad Bull 34. What is Mad Bull 34? Well, it's a 4-episode OVA that's brought out here by Discotheque. 180 minutes total, presented in 4x3 with English and Japanese audio, and obviously English subtitles. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot more that I know about this other than it's extremely crazy and violent. That is the one thing I definitely know about this show. I've not actually seen any of the episodes as of this time, but I've definitely heard tons and tons about Mad Bull 34. I mean, you just just look at the cover here. You got, scantily clad women. You've got police officers in rage with guns and whatnot. It just screams craziness. Here's the episode titles: Hit and Rape, Manhattan Connection, Charging Jackie, and Goodbye Sleepy. Definitely interesting. So let's read the blurb from the back here. America, land of freedom, but on its dark streets prowl those who abuse its freedoms, and nowhere is as crime-ridden as New York City. It is the job of the New York Police Department to protect society from the evil on its streets, and this is the tale of New York's finest cops serving in its toughest district, the 34th Precinct. Into this melting pot of crime and corruption comes a young, raw recruit named Daiza Burrow. His new partner is one of the most notorious cops on the force, known to co-workers as Mad Bull, due to his ultra-violent form of peacekeeping. Shocking, action-packed, and explosive, Mad Bull 34 is finally available on DVD in this complete collection. So yeah, that is Mad Bull 34. Definitely an interesting pickup. This came out in 1990 originally, this 4-episode OVA, and it definitely is going to prove to be a very, very interesting show. It's currently unrated. There's probably some nudity and other things involved in here, and obviously, definitely ultra violence. I see a lot of triangular boobs and whatnot in some of these covers from the OVAs. Try and give you guys a pretty good look at it, hopefully. But yeah, definitely an interesting pickup, and can't wait to check it out. Okay, up next is a show that I've actually been kind of looking for ever since I originally saw a promotional video at Anime Central back in, I think it was either 2005 or 2006, for the then at the time con chair, who also went by the name of Locke, and it's called Locke the Superpower. Now, to be entirely honest, I've not ever seen Locke the Superpower beyond a few random clips from some AMVs and things that I've seen. What I do know based off of this is this current edition is obviously, of course, Discotech release, so you can actually go pick it up right now. Came out in 1984. It's presented in both English and Japanese dubs. Obviously, subtitles. It is a anamorphic widescreen rendition, 120 minutes long. To read kind of the blurb on the back here. The intergalactic wars have begun. The Federal Army is no match for Lady Chan's legion of robotic soldiers. Defeat is at hand. Only the superpowered Locke, now a peace-loving civilian, can save the Earth. Locke must use his superhuman powers and ultra-destructive lightning sword to defeat the villainous onslaught. Will Locke come to the rescue of his doomed planet? Can he resist the beautiful but traitorous Jessica? The final showdown awaits aboard a monstrous asteroid ship. This classic theatrical animated film is available on DVD for the first time. It's been fully remastered and features the original Japanese language with English subtitles along with the English dubbed version. So yeah, it's definitely a spacey, space something type anime. Can't necessarily say it's space opera, but it's definitely sci-fi spacey, with the main character Locke being a superpower, superhuman, whatnot, and basically he's the one who has to save the world. So yeah, that is Locke the Superpower. Definitely awesome to have finally picked it up. Okay, moving on. Is actually something that you guys might recognize if you saw my my Christmas episode of basically what to actually go out and look for an old school otaku like myself. And well, let's just put it this way. I took heed to it, and well, I picked it up. Super Dimension Century Orgus. I have been eyeing this specific set since I found out about it and knew that it was going to be available at Anime Week in Atlanta last year in 2015. A couple of my friends who went to AWA with me actually picked up a copy of this, and by the time I got to the dealer's room, they were all sold out. But, that being said, I've since been able to procure myself a copy thanks to Right Stuff. And yeah, this is definitely an interesting set. It is from the director of Megazone 23, Star Blazers. It's actually part 3 in the 3-part Super Dimension Century set of anime. The first one being Macross. Those might recognize Macross, or what we know here in the U.S. as Robotech. And also Southern Cross, which is known as the Masters, the Robotech Masters arc of Robotech. Unfortunately, this was not dubbed as Part 3 of the Robotech series. Instead, they used an entirely different show and not anything part of the Super Dimension Century. So the character designs are very similar. A lot of the equipment and things are very similar between them, but they don't actually share any real storyline between any of them. It's just part of the same series, but at the same time, it kind of stands on its own. So what is a Super Dimension Century Orgus? Well, it is a 35-episode TV series brought out by Discotech here in the U.S., which is actually the first time I believe this has ever actually been brought out here in the U.S., is Discotech. It's presented in both audio in English and Japanese, as well as subtitles. It's a total of 800 minutes, between 35 episodes. It is, apparently in here, it is all 35 episodes in Japanese language, subtitled with English. The English dub for episodes 1 through 17. So actually only the first 17 episodes got an English dub. So maybe this was actually released here in the U.S., but it was a very limited release and only for 17, not the full 35 episodes. A little bit more information here from the back. Here today, flung into the future tomorrow. Today, Kei Katsuragi's only concern is the love of his life. It doesn't really matter to him that he has more than one love after all. As a pilot for the Freedom Space Corps, he must be dead tomorrow. In the future, war has changed, and Kei is all too familiar with the horrors it can bring. Atomic, biological, and chemical weapons are all in use, but worst are the dimensional weapons, horrifying ordnance that can tear apart even time and space. As it happens, his next mission is a risky gambit that involves just such a weapon, a desperate move in the war over Earth's space elevator. During the mission, Kei disobeys orders, and his brash actions have consequences beyond just a big kaboom. Kei is thrown into the future and finds himself caught in an entirely different struggle between the militaristic Charum and the mercantile Eamon, with himself as the prize. Will this womanizing hotshot pilot make it back to his own time, or is there something more to Kei being the singularity? Find out in this complete series set containing all 35 episodes. So that is Super Dimension Century Orgus. It's definitely awesome to finally actually pick up a copy of this, and I no longer have to beg and plead family and friends to potentially get me a copy for my birthday or Christmas now. Either way, though, definitely awesome to finally actually own a copy of this, and I can't wait to sit down and actually watch this one with Ruchan at some point in time in the future. Okay, moving on is a series that, I've actually kind of wanted to start collecting. I've known about it for quite some time, but it's always been kind of difficult to get a hold of copies, and I was definitely pleased when I found out that Discotech decided to actually pick this up and release it. And what am I talking about? I am talking about Cutie Honey. And I'm not talking about like Cutie Honey or the newer Cutie Honeys or any of that. This is the original Cutie Honey. So what is Cutie Honey? Well, first off, it is a 25-episode TV series that was released in... Oh, did you guys not put the original date on here this time around? Come on, Discotech. That's kind of sad. I believe this came out in the 70s. Or very early 80s. The actual date kind of... Oh, here we go. 1973. 1973. So it was originally released in 1973. It's presented in Japanese only with English subtitles. 25 episodes, 550 minutes. Obviously full frame, as it did come out in the 70s. So you got 4:3 aspect ratio. This here, the original 1973 TV series, that kind of started all of it. So what is Cutie Honey? Well, from the back here, Honey Flash. One day, Honey Kusaragi's a trendy, class-cutting Catholic schoolgirl. The next, her father's been murdered by demonic divas from a dastardly organization called Panther Claw. When his dying message reveals that she's an android, Honey uses the transformative power of the atmospheric element solidifier, the very thing Panther Claw wanted to steal, to seek revenge against the shadowy clan. Can Honey fight her way up Panther Claw's ranks to defeat its leader, the sinister Sister Jill, while managing to escape the watchful eyes of Miss Hissler, her school's headmistress? Aided by journalists Hayami Seiji, his ninja father, and lady-loving grade school brother, Honey sometimes appears as a race car driver, sometimes as a glamorous model, and sometimes as a beggar. But her true identity is none other than the warrior of love, Cutie Honey. Created by legendary manga artist Go Nagai from Mazinger Z, Getter Robo, Devilman, and first broadcast in 1973, Cutie Honey is one of the first action-driven magical girl shows, despite being aimed at a squarely male audience. Having since become a staple with various spin-offs and reboot OVAs and TV shows, not to mention a live-action film, this release presents the original Cutie Honey TV series for the first time on DVD in North America, in its original Japanese with English subtitles. So this was definitely a really awesome pickup. If you're into older anime, I mean, like I said, this is 73. This is definitely old original anime that kind of spawned a lot of animes that those of us who grew up in the 90s or whatnot watching anime might have, found out about. Cutie Honey is definitely one of those. Like I said, it spawned multiple OVAs. Gainax did an OVA called Cutie Honey back in the early 2000s. There was an OVA back in the 90s. It's definitely had its fair share of reboots and whatnot, and it's definitely out there. As a show that did come out in the 70s, obviously its character designs are a little funky. I mean, you got to kind of look at that, and it's just the way anime was back in the 70s back then. Obviously, they're going to wear clothes that kind of indicative of the disco era and things like that. But overall, it's definitely an interesting thing to pick up, and I can't wait to actually crack this open and actually take a look. There is going to be some nudity in it. Cutie Honey is known to get a little naked from time to time, but either way, though, it was definitely a really cool pickup. And if you're looking for something old school, I mean really old school, this one is sure to please, especially if you're into Magical Girl. I mean, Cutie Honey is the original Magical Girl. Sailor Moon isn't. Cutie Honey is. So this is the one to check out. Either way, though, awesome pickup. Can't wait to actually pop that in and watch. I've got so much stuff to watch, but either way, I will get to it all eventually. Okay, moving on. We're going to get to pretty much a giant set of one of my favorite TV, movie series, anime of all time. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about Lupin the Third, Lupin Sensei. I love Lupin. I've loved Lupin since the first time I saw any Lupin back in the day. And I've been collecting a lot of Lupin. Whenever it comes out here in the US, I've tried my best to actually collect it. A lot of titles that have been released for Lupin, a lot of the movies and OVAs and things that have been released in the past have since, their licenses have dropped, and Discotek has been picking them up one after one and releasing them in better quality, newer subtitles and whatnot. And it's definitely nice to actually see all of this extra work being brought in by Discotek to bring out all of these Lupin titles. I mean, we had the most recent Daisuke Jigen's Gravestone. I can't wait to see what happens with the new Blue Lupin TV series that's set in Italy, I believe. I haven't seen any of that yet, but can't wait to check that out. Hopefully Discotek could pick that up and bring that out as well here in the US. But either way, though, let's get started with all of the cool Lupin that I picked up here. So first up is a movie that came out a little while ago, and well, let's just say it's a little weird. If you believe the storyline of this movie, pretty much anytime you see Lupin, it's an entirely different person. It's never the same person twice. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Green versus Red. This one was long awaited when it originally came out, because we all knew that the way they were touting it was going to be Green Lupin versus Red Jacket Lupin. And those of you who follow Lupin knows that the original TV series that came out, he wore a green jacket. Then the second series that came out, he wore a red jacket. And most of the movies and OVAs that actually came out with for Lupin has Lupin in the red jacket. There are a few of him in the green jacket, such as the Castle Cagliostro is Green Jacket Lupin. In fact, it's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head beyond this movie that actually had Green Jacket Lupin. But there probably are a few others. The Red Jacket Lupin was pretty much the majority of Lupin that you see in the movies and the OVAs and whatnot is Red Jacket Lupin. Though there were a few movies that came out of Pink Jacket Lupin. And what is Pink Jacket Lupin? Well, Pink Jacket is a very, very special and silly Lupin. It was the third series that came out. Really odd, awkward, not considered to be the best. Green Jacket is what you would consider the most serious Lupin. He's definitely not a very good guy. He's willing to kill, it doesn't matter. Green Jacket is just, that's the way he is. Red Jacket's a little bit more playful and whatnot, but still kind of a BA. Whereas Pink Jacket is just a silly, silly person. Blue Jacket, I'm not sure what to think about Blue Jacket yet. Like I said, I haven't seen much of it. But Red versus Green pits a green Lupin against a red Lupin. And it basically shows a whole bunch of Lupins. I mean, there's a Lupin with a afro who can reach into his afro and pull stuff out. It's crazy. It's hilarious. There's a Lupin mech. It's really weird. So yeah, what is green versus red? Just when you thought the man was one of a kind, Lupin III lookalikes start appearing all over the world, each with their own style and flair. Even the expert inspector Zenigata can't seem to track down his rival. From among the rabble rises one ambitious, green-jacketed Lupin imitator himself, Yasuo. He challenges the man himself to swipe the mysterious treasure Ice Cube and earn the title of the real Lupin III. Produced for the 40th anniversary of the original manga, Green vs. Red is a celebration of what makes the Lupin franchise so endearing. Complete with double crosses, disguises, crazy car action, and a giant robot, Lupin III, Green vs. Red shows the world what it means to be the world's greatest master thief. So, yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's a 79-minute movie. The discotheque version here is released in just Japanese with subtitles. And this came out in the mid to late 2000s. The actual date I can't seem to remember, and it's not on the box here anywhere. I think it came out in 2007, 2008. That sounds about right. In that time frame, and yeah, it was definitely really cool, awesome. I now own a copy. I love the fact that I now own a copy, and yeah, this was definitely a good one to pick up. Green versus Red. Okay, moving on, we get to, well, if you're into Lupin, this is one you definitely need to own, and the reason why, well, it's the first Lupin movie, the very first. And what are we talking about? I am talking about The Mystery of Mamo. A lot of people think that the first Lupin movie was the Miyazaki Lupin, the Castle of Cagliostro. But 1 year prior, Mystery of Mamo came out. And there's definitely a difference in the production quality between Mystery of Mamo and Castle of Cagliostro. Mystery of Mamo definitely shows Lupin and the gang kind of how they looked in the original Green Jacketed series, but Lupin's in the red jacket for this one. It's a 102-minute long movie presented in anamorphic widescreen. You actually have English and Japanese dubbing with English subtitles. Looks like there's 4 English tracks. Interesting. 4 total dubs. 4 different dubs of The Mystery of Mamo. Cool. So, what is Mystery on Mamo about? Well, the world's most wanted master thief, Lupin III, is dead. Despite a coroner's report, Interpol Inspector Zenigata is skeptical and discovers that Lupin is actually alive and well and stealing. But who had set up Lupin's death and why? For now, questions are set aside as Lupin, Jigen, and Goemon immediately embark to Egypt to pilfer a stone artifact from a pyramid with Zenigata in hot pursuit. Fujiko, lured by the promise of eternal youth and beauty by the sinister and enigmatic scientist known as Mamo, double-crosses Lupin and steals the stone. Her betrayal causes a rift between Lupin and his cohorts, causing the trio to split up, but eventually leads Lupin to Mamo's hideaway, where he discovers the madman's dark secret and a fiendish scheme that threatens the entire planet. Now it's up to Lupin to stop the insane Mamo before he can complete his 10,000-year-old plans of world domination. So yeah, that's Secret of Mamo. Just like Cutie Honey, if you're into really old school anime, this is one to pick up. This came out in 78 or 77. I don't remember which off the top of my head. But this is old school. This is old school Lupin, and it's a really cool and interesting movie. Definitely one to check out, especially if you're into Lupin the Third. Okay, moving right along. We get a rather weird title. I don't remember if I ever actually have seen this specific one. Off the top of my head, it doesn't ring a lot of bells, but I may have seen it at some point in time. And it is part of the specials, Lupin the Third specials. It's not a movie, it's a special. And it is Lupin the Third, Bye Bye Liberty. Or Bye Bye Liberty Crisis or something. Yeah. It has a couple of different names. So just a little bit here about this. Once again, Discotek release here, presented in English and Japanese with obviously subtitles. It's 100 minutes long and presented in full frame, 4:3. Well, that's because it is a special. This was released for TV, not as a movie. And it's, let's just read some of the info here. New York City is in crisis. Is this goodbye for Lady Liberty? Foiled repeatedly by the predictions of Interpol's supercomputer, professional looter Lupin III has quit his life of crime. However, his partner Jigen crawls out of the woodwork, tempting him with one last job, recovering the Super Egg, a massive diamond hidden somewhere inside the Statue of Liberty. Suddenly, a sinister secret organization and a young computer genius are thrown into the mix, and just whose side is the buxom Fujiko on this time? This debut television special has never before been seen in North America. It includes the rare English-language dub, along with the original Japanese dialogue. So, yeah, this very well might be one that I've never actually seen, or at least I've never seen a dub of it. Features Lupin III, Bye Bye Liberty, Close Call, from 1989. So the character designs are definitely more in the 80s style, not quite the upgraded later 90s and 2000s style of Lupin that was brought out. It's a little bit more like the original character designs from the 80s or whatnot, but that is Lupin, Bye Bye Lady Liberty, or Bye Bye Liberty Crisis, or it's known by a bunch of different titles, but the Discotek release is Bye Bye Lady Liberty. Cool pickup. Moving on my Lupin collection and getting it to be more and more complete. Yes. And speaking of completion, next one up here is another one of the Lupin the Third specials, and it is Lupin the Third, The Hemingway Papers. And I really love the way Discotek's done these releases. It talks about them in specials, actually lists them. This is special number 1, this is special number 2. This came out in 1990. And so what is the Hemingway Papers? Well, once again, it's presented in Japanese audio with English subtitles. It is 90 minutes long. It is just a TV special, so it's presented in 4:3. And, a little bit of information here. The Hemingway Papers, a riddle of death or a tale of treasure. A draft of Ernest Hemingway's final novel might hold the secret to an immense hidden treasure, and Master Thief Lupin III is on the hunt. He'll have the help of his partners and the beautiful bartender Maria, but he'll have to contend with a local civil war, the mercenary Crazy Mash, and the super wealthy arms dealer Marcis to get it. So, yeah, released in 1990, special number 2, Lupin III, Mystery of the Hemingway Papers. This was definitely a good pickup. It's, once again, continuing on and getting further on and completing my Lupin collection with parts that I haven't, that I don't currently own. I do believe I have seen the Hemingway Papers. It definitely rings a bell. I'm pretty sure I enjoyed it. Actually, there really hasn't been a Lupin show that I haven't actually enjoyed as of this point. But either way, though, definitely awesome. Cool pickup. Let's continue. So this next one up here is, well, it's one that, yeah, I love this one. Lupin III, Napoleon's Dictionary. Now, I think this one might have actually been released in a previous Lupin collection, which would be up here on my stack somewhere. Yeah, I'm not going to necessarily go looking for it, but this is Television Special number 3 from 1991. It's Japanese only audio with English subtitles, once again, Discotek Media. 90 minutes long as well, presented in 4x3 because it is a TV special, once again. What is this? It's a race against time to steal Napoleon's dictionary. The secret of the Lupin family treasure is out. Its location is written inside a dictionary once owned by Napoleon Bonaparte himself. When the dictionary turns up as the prize for a historic motorcar race, the notorious Lupin III and his criminal cadre race the world's superpowers to win or steal the dictionary and unearth his grandfather's legacy of riches. This comedy adventure spans the globe with action, car chases, and gunfights, now available for the first time on DVD with a new English translation and fully remastered audio and video. Complete your collection with this enjoyable Lupin feature. So yeah. Napoleon's Dictionary, definitely an interesting one to add. It is special number 3, and I've got a copy now. Okay. Now, to finish out my collection here of what I've picked up, at least for this episode, is the final piece of Lupin that I picked up in this recent bash, and that is Lupin III, From Siberia with Love. So, once again, what is with Siberia with Love? Obviously, it's a Lupin show. It is special number 4 from 1992. Once again, presented in Japanese audio only with English subtitles. It is, once again, a 90-minute special. Obviously, because it's a special, presented in 4x3 full frame. And let's read a little bit more about this. Lupin versus Rasputin in a race for the lovely treasure from Russia. Ultimate thief Lupin III has a new target, the lost gold of Romanov dynasty. With the help of a mysterious researcher named Judy Scott, Lupin discovers the hidden treasure in Texas at the Bank of Liberty. His partners Jigen and Fujiko lend a hand in harvesting the gold, but a few snags happen along the way. Not only does the New York Mafia own the gold, but Rasputin, the telepathic descendant of the mad monk Rasputin, wants it for himself. With Rasputin manipulating the world's leaders and even a certain samurai, the stage is set for the battle over Romanov's golden legacy. And wow, I don't think I've ever actually seen this one specifically with Siberia, From Siberia with Love, but it has a character in it that shows up in a later show, I believe. It does say, Rasputin, and I think he's a returning character in a later special from the 2000s. I believe. Don't. I'm not entirely sure on this one, but it seems to ring a little bit of a bell for me. But either way, though, this definitely is an interesting, cool pickup, and it's number 4 in the specials from 1992, and continuing my Lupin the Third collection. Definitely awesome. I mean, they're basically starting in the late 80s and into the 90s. Pretty much Lupin, there was always a new Lupin out every year. It was a TV special or it could have been a movie. It kind of slowed down in the later 2000s and recently, but has kind of picked back up again slightly, and it just continues on. And Lupin's an awesome show. I love Lupin. I can't speak highly enough about Lupin. And it's awesome to actually now own all of these different Lupins. So it's definitely cool, definitely awesome to now have all of that. And, well, I guess with that kind of brings today's set of pickups to a close. So once again, I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening to me up to this point. I know it's been a lot to cover, and I thank each and every single one of you who have stuck with me to this point for doing so. If this is your first time seeing one of my videos, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button above my head. It's going to put you front row and center whenever I release something new, as it's going to show up in your YouTube feed, hopefully, based off the YouTube algorithm, you know, all that fancy little stuff here. But if you want to check out some of my other stuff, I encourage you to hit one of these 2 videos to either side of my head, as I'm going to have them linked there for you. And of course, you can always check out the rest of my stuff. And you know, I have to encourage you to you know, go ahead and maybe hit the Patreon link and consider becoming a patron of mine. All the money is brought to me through Patreon is going to go back into this channel, helping to get better audio gear, lighting gear, things like that. Make all of this experience a lot nicer for all of you guys. At the same time, some of the stuff that I've talked about today is available for purchase on Amazon. In the description below, there is a special Amazon link to some of these titles. I encourage you to go check those out and take a look at them, and potentially even purchase them from those links if you're interested in doing so. Some of that will actually help out. I am an Amazon affiliate with that, so my affiliate code down in the description below should assist with that. And of course, you know, if you want to, I want to hear what you guys think about what all's gone on here today. So go ahead and, you know, respond in the comment sections below. Hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. All of the links to all of my social media is in the description below. But that is the end of things for today. So this is Nate, the old school otaku, signing off. I don't know. Is this too much? Too much anime for one man to hold in his hands? Maybe. Maybe. What's up, YouTube? Nate, the old school otaku here. Because I love tacos and... Otaku. Yum. Otaku. Otaku. Yeah, I thought it was funny, at least.